Do you like building stuff and being a general pain in the ass to anyone around you? Then Torbjorn may be for you. Hey folks, Chris Waters here with Mike Mahardy. GameSpot's Overwatch Hero Guide series continues as we talk about the man, the dwarf, the tiny person with the turret.
This turret is really where you should be focusing if you're playing Torbjorn. I mean, if you're not using your turret correctly and placing it correctly and maintaining it, your team might kind of get mad at you because that's your main focus.
That's your thing, man. And the turret is like another player on the field, or at least it's another asset to lock down positions, to deny access to lanes, to really hassle the other team. If you've played a few matches, odds are you've been shot a few times by a Torbjorn turret. So what are the keys to good turret placement and management?
So I prefer to keep it within distance of like a payload path or a control zone and give it like an actual wide vision cone to be able to shoot in there, but you also want to make sure that it's not exposed in every angle. Try to put it with a corner behind it or a wall, or at least somewhere you can kind of cover it if you need to, because you're essentially functioning as a support for the turret. You're repairing it when people damage it, you are upgrading it. It starts more as an annoyance, right? Until you upgrade it to level 2, you have to hit it with your hammer 5 times, and then it becomes more damaging. But you really want to make sure that if people are chipping away at it, you're at least close by, or you're ready to put another one down in a better location.
Yeah, and the two threats to your turret are, Widowmaker and Pharah, long-range attacks, and, like a Reaper or a Tracer sort of flanking attacks. So if you can minimize one of those, either the flanking angles or the long-range angles, you'll be in a good place to help your turret survive. Now, in terms of upgrading, let's talk about that. 5 hits with your hammer gets it to a level 2. That's worth definitely doing when you're setting up on a point, when enemies are not near you, when you're setting up in the beginning. But if your turret goes down in the middle of a fight, put down a new turret immediately. Don't waste time trying to upgrade it, because you're going to do better damage with your Rivet gun.
Yeah, the Rivet gun is actually a really good alternative. You've got the primary one, which is a little bit of an arc, but the shot it does actually expel is pretty damaging. I mean, it takes some skill to use, but if you can land them, it does some damage.
Yep, it carries far, it's got some bullet drop, but again, yeah, you can really cause problems.
And the alternate fire, the shotgun, is actually really good up close. It's not my preferred way to play as Torbjorn. It can be a last resort, but if you're going up against, I don't know, say like a Tracer, it might be a good thing. If you go up against a Reaper, I wouldn't recommend it. You're probably going to get shredded. But it is a very good alternative.
But if you land those shots, you're going to do some really great damage, and I think people sleep on Torbjorn's Rivet gun a little bit too much. You are sort of 2 points of fire, your turret and your Rivet gun, and prowling around the area is not just good to cover more areas as Torbjorn, but also because you can collect scrap from any downed player, ally, or enemy.
So that's the thing about Torbjorn. He's not just a defender. He's not just a good alternative for offense. He's actually a support character too. And you want to stay mobile to get those scrap pieces, and then you can actually throw armor down to your Widowmakers who might be exposed on a high perch, or your Reinhardts who are covering your team as you advance. He's this mesh of roles that really plays into a versatile character build.
Those armor packs can really make a difference, especially for your really low health characters, your Zenyatas and your Symmetras, etc. But let's talk about Torbjorn's role on offense, because he's a natural fit for defense, for sure. Offense, you gotta be a little more situational in terms of how you can play Torbjorn effectively.
Yeah, if you're quick with getting your turret down and you can constantly be putting new ones down, maybe above your group as they advance, or even on the payload, there's very specific situations where you can make use of that if it's a mobile thing, and the payload itself is inherently a mobile, moving platform that you can take advantage of. Because the turret is damaging, and if it's upgraded, it can be a weapon on the offensive and not just hanging back on defense.
Absolutely, especially like you said, if it's on the moving payload or on moving platforms like on the Volskaya Industries map. Now let's talk about his ultimate, Molten Core, because it doesn't just juice you, it juices your turret, but only if your turret is level 2. If your turret's level 1, it's going to be a little nastier, but if it's level 2, it will go to level 3, and all of a sudden you'll have this turret that's shooting rockets and stuff, and it's real gnarly. So you want to try to activate that ult when your turret's level 2, and you don't have to be anywhere near it either. If you die and respawn and you see that your turret is firing, you can fire that ult. Your turret will kick it up a notch, and that can be really crucial in defending points. And on top of that, Molten Core also gives you a ton of armor and your turret a ton of armor, so all of a sudden you can soak up a ton of damage, you can really wade into the fray, into the melee, and start doing some real mean work with that shotgun.
Yeah, going back to what you said earlier about being these 2 points of fire, you are essentially kind of playing 2 characters almost if you want to really look into it, and this makes both of those points even more powerful. You get shotgun up close is even more powerful. You could almost take on a Reaper if you're fast enough, although I wouldn't recommend that. And if you are accurate enough with the arc from the primary fire, you can start shredding Reinhardts from far away while your turret just shoots him in the back when he turns his shields to take you on. It's a really versatile way to amp both your turret, which can be behind people, in front of people, and yourself, which can also be behind or in front. So then it makes 2 of these things that people have to worry about and makes it all the more dangerous on offense or mainly defense.
Torbjorn can be a big threat and a big nuisance on the fields of Overwatch, and hopefully these tips help you be even more of a problem for your enemies. For more Overwatch hero guides, subscribe to GameSpot, and stay tuned, we've got more coming.